Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network as we are back in studio after a long leave of our spring sports tour and spring break as well. Frank Granito with Kevin Coleman and Eric Gendron in the director's room. Eric, looking good in there with a little swag behind you.
I know. Well, everyone came through for us big time here, and we asked for some swag on the FCAC tour, and we're decorating. This isn't even all of it. We have a whole bag off screen here with more stuff, so we're gonna rotate things in and out, episode to episode, and see if you can spot your team's colors back here. But we got a good showing here, so that's big thanks to all the teams that came out and supported that cause, and we're all about supporting the FCAC, and the love is mutual. So.
Hey, man, proud partner of the FCAC. I'm excited to see what you throw up on the walls there. Kevin, happy to have you back in studio today. A mainstay now with us, you are. I was a little disappointed. There were a couple schools on the tour where I had to ask for the swag. I thought that was your job.
Oh, here we go.
Yes.
Now, well, my question to Eric is there a favorite swag from any school back there behind you?
This is true, Eric. You are not an FCAC homer like ourselves.
Yeah,
do you have one?
Frank and I can't pick.
Yeah, no, I am, not a Connecticut native. I grew up in New Hampshire, so, there's... of those things that we got, I'm a big fan of the McMahon baseball jersey. That's probably one of my favorites.
McMahon baseball jersey's definitely up there.
But then we gotta go. We also gotta take a look at the Letterman jacket here we got from Stanford that Kate Chapliski has been rocking lately. That's a pretty great one too.
I gotta say, I think the Stanford Letterman jacket is my favorite too, right now at least. I'm excited to see what else we get from other schools. I think the Trinity knit hat is pretty cool as well. That's right in front of you, Eric. I mean, again, a huge thank you to all the ADs and schools for hooking us up with all the great swag from all the schools.
I'm a big fan of the true West Hill Viking sweater.
No more. This is
a Stanford Co-op, but that is a great jersey there.
It's a classic now.
But Eric, while we're going back and forth here before we really dive into today's action, listen, you're a Patriots fan. You're now a Connecticut native. Your thoughts on the Aaron Hernandez situation, because I do want to touch upon it quickly.
Yeah, I know. I mean, a national story that has some local ties with Aaron Hernandez being from Bristol originally, and his name's still in a lot of those Connecticut record books for touchdown receptions, and it's just a sad end to a really sad chapter, and really surprising. Took everyone by surprise, and it was pretty sickening what happened a few years back after he was arrested, and the turmoil that the team went through, and obviously the lives that he destroyed, and it's just a sad ending to a really sad story, and he won't be missed.
Listen, it's a joking matter. I understand that, but it's I don't know if sad's the right word. I think I would say it's more it's a sad ending to an unfortunate story. Because I don't know how much sympathy I have for Aaron Hernandez himself compared to the families of the victims themselves, whereas it's just, honest, and not to sound too harsh, what a waste. What a waste of talent. Could have been the face of this state amongst some of the greats, like a Steve Young, when you think about the path he had paved for himself, such a great career at Florida, and had set himself up for success in New England as just such a utility player, being able to do so much playing alongside Gronkowski. He's missed out on 2 Super Bowl rings now, and it's all coming to just this horrific end to what was somehow an even more horrific story, Kev.
Yeah, I think it did catch a lot of people by surprise, waking up this morning to see the news, and it really is unfortunate. And I think for the Patriot, for all the Patriot fans up there, this is a guy who had so much talent, and to think that him and Gronkowski were going to be, tight end duos together. You have to remember, they went to the Super Bowl together, lost to the Giants, but man, that was a dangerous team. This, Aaron Hernandez was so skilled at the tight end position, and it really is unfortunate because what a waste. He was such a great talent.
You had to get the Giants in there somehow. I like that. But again,
Sorry, Eric.
Yeah, exactly. And listen, I don't want to spend too much time on it. It's a story, in my opinion, that isn't worth spending time on, but Aaron Hernandez from Connecticut, we deserve to mention it at least. I do want to also just mention quickly, because we hadn't been back on the air yet, our Athlete of the Weeks for the spring has begun. The Week 1 nominees are up on HAN.network. You can vote for them. We've got 5 female athletes, 5 male athletes. The females are Genevieve DeWinter of Greenwich High Girls Lax, Katie Stiglin-Paglia of Norwalk Softball, Maisie Hennessy of New Canaan Lacrosse, Paige Brown of Wilton Lacrosse, and Emily Tenez of Trumbull Lacrosse. Those are your Female Athlete of the Week nominees. For the males, you've got Michael Manella from Norwalk Lax, Colin Lowe of the Ridgefield Baseball Team, Vince Camara, Ludlow Baseball, Jack DeLeo, St. Joe Baseball, and Billy Black of Wilton Baseball. You've got until Sunday night at 11:59 to vote. Make sure you go online to HN.network, submit your vote for the Week 1 Athlete of the Week nominees for the spring season. And we talked a little bit about this yesterday, Kev. There was a player in the lacrosse game we covered, Jack Fada, who might feel a little snubbed not getting the nominee for Athlete of the Week. The young man came back after a 5-goal performance last week, including the overtime winner against Ridgefield, dropped a hat trick now on their rival, the Staples Wreckers. Second year in a row that these two teams played to a 1-goal difference in the regular season. But this time it was the Cardinals getting the better of Staples. Kev, your first thoughts on what we saw yesterday from both those teams?
I think it was Triscari was excellent in net for the Greenwich Cardinals. I thought both goalies really did play well down the stretch. Garber made some nice saves for the Staples Wreckers. I mean, considering what we saw last year from these two rivals, that great double overtime game in the regular season, and then they had Staples beating Greenwich in the quarterfinals. I mean, great matchup between these two teams. It's only fitting that we got to see these two teams again really go neck and neck through this whole game. Thought both defenses actually played pretty strong. Both offenses had a little bit of a tough time trying to figure out the defenses, really, and very well disciplined, except for the end. You saw Staples give up that unfortunate penalty at the end, which led to Greenwich scoring that game-winning goal.
And I'm glad you mentioned the defense playing well because, Eric, we saw a lot of turnover on both these rosters from last year's teams. They lose some big players. Both teams lose a lot up front offensively. Are these defensive-minded teams now, or are they still just working through the growing pains up front offensively?
I think it's a little bit of growing pains. I mean, I think, whenever you have these kind of rivalry games, you get those extra nerves, I think, on offense, and you want to make that big, you wind up and you just huck it in there for that goal and really make the highlight reel. I think there's a little bit of extra, trying to push for that little showy goal early on in the season, and I think, obviously had an excellent defensive performance on both sides of the ball. But I definitely think, this was not as much of a defensive effort as it appears. I think, largely falls to Triscari in net. I mean, this game could have been 9 or 10 goals for Staples if it wasn't for him. I mean, I really think that, the Greenwich got their revenge almost solely because of him. I mean, there were 3 or 4 huge shots that he stopped in net that may have been goals last year. You never know. I mean, those were huge stops and were, I think, in my opinion, the key to Greenwich's win yesterday.
100% you're right, and I'm glad you mentioned that because Staples has got to be kicking themselves today looking back on 3 opportunities where a man was wide open in front of the net, had gotten through the defense, and point blank, no further than we are apart right now, Kevin, had a shot on cage, and Triscari stood tall and faced the challenge, which each won. It was interesting how Coach Lutz decided to go with Triscari the whole game. When we saw Greenwich last week against Ridgefield, they flipped goalies. Santry played the second half, and that one kind of backfired. After what we saw yesterday, and I'll ask this to both of you, is Triscari the starter barring injury or some kind of a major meltdown moving forward?
100%. Without a doubt. That's my answer. 100%.
Eric?
Yeah, I mean, after that performance, I mean, I think you can't have that switching at halftime anymore. I mean, that performance alone has got to solidify him in net for the rest of the season.
Well, and to add to Eric's thing, point there, I was wondering after that Ridgefield game, was there an injury that we maybe don't know about? Maybe he was feeling uncomfortable around halftime. That's why they made the switch. I mean, again, it is early on, so you probably would like to get both goalies in there as well, get Santry the minutes. But I mean, at this point, you got to give Triscari all the minutes he can.
Another key thing that stood out, and this will be my last topic here before we go to the highlights, Eric, but it was, dash sacks for Staples, who controlled the face-off circle yesterday, just outmatched against Bailey Sevilla. We said on the air, Kevin, 2 through 6 in the conference, almost interchangeable right now. New Canaan, Wilton, Greenwich, Staples, and Ridgefield. really anyone can beat anyone, could finish 2 through 6 at the end of the standings. Staples is in a tough position now, as Sachs appears to be the odd man out in that group when it comes to face-offs.
That's a tough question. I mean, he's going up against Bailey Sevilla. I mean, Bailey's probably one of the best face-off men in the FCAC.
Oh, well, that's my point, though, is Bailey Sevilla, Nick Cravato, you've got, not McGovern, it's Holden, I believe, over in Darien. Wilson in Wilton. You've got the best face-off men in the conference around these top teams. I appreciate that Sachs is still probably in that upper echelon, but Eric, if he's that outmatched come playoff time, the Wreckers are in a lot of trouble.
I agree. I think it's a tough call to make a decision to possibly pull him when you're up against Bailey Sevilla.
But by no means am I saying you should pull him. I don't think that's the case at all. But I'm saying it's got to be an area of concern right now, seeing how much Sevilla dominated on the draw.
No, absolutely. I mean, that was another huge game. I mean, but I'd say the two kind of X factors in that game yesterday were Sevilla on the faceoff and Triscari in net. I mean, obviously you still got to put the ball in the net, and Greenwich did a great job with that. But those X factors that propelled Greenwich to be able to hold on for that win were those two guys. You are right. You go into a playoff game, it's all about possession in the playoffs. It's so important to have possession. And when you got a face-off man like Bailey Sevilla, that really gives Greenwich that extra edge going forward.
Let's take a look at the highlights now. The Cardinals, a 7-6 winner yesterday over the Staples Wreckers.
Early on in this season as a pass over to the wing. And here's Pat Sakara with it. Behind the net and wide open, able to come around to the front, convert the wraparound, and it's 1-0. Great finish there. It's Harris Levy.
Oh, what a big goal.
A huge answer there. And we are tied at 1 just like that. It was Matt Bogger. Sevilla out in space with a lot of room to work. Fada winds up in the high bounce shot. Connects again, his second of the afternoon.
Great job there by Bailey Sevilla. You look back at that last play.
Pick set here and trying to head towards the front. It's off the crossbar. In. Count it. Quick answer. This one comes from Lonergan. It won't show up in the stat sheet, but gives Sakara an assist for that pick.
And for both rosters to really get that playoff feel going.
As a turnaround shot out of the stick of Zinn just sneaks inside the far post, and we're quickly tied at 5. That's great ball movement here. Pass in front, and Triscari denies him on the doorstep.
Wow, what a save. And it looks like we got Sequeira down right now.
Pass for Tucker was knocked down. He recovers, fires through contact, and finishes. Cardinals have the lead again.
What a finish there for the Greenwich Cardinals.
Completes the full swing as Tucker buys time and space. O'Connor winds up, and he finds the back of the net. Stumble to the turf, falls through the double team. Hutchinson has it as he flings a prayer the length of the field. And that'll do it. The Cardinals hold on 7-6 as Greenwich continues to march their way through this regular season through a litany of one-goal games.
So a big win for the Cardinals. They're now 5-2 on the season. Sole possession of first place in the West Division. They will travel to Fairfield Ludlow on Saturday. Staples falls to 4-2. They're a game behind Greenwich in the conference. They will play at Fox Lane, New York, tomorrow afternoon as they go out of conference. Cav, Eric, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we've got a look at the start of the lacrosse and baseball season around the FCAC on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Part of banking well is doing good. That's why, with the support of local community partners, Bankwell has launched the Bankwell Pet Adoption Project to boost awareness about the hundreds of animals in local shelters that need a home. And when you donate to the cause using the Bankwell self-service coin machines, we'll match your donation. For details, visit mybankwell.com/pleaseadoptme. Bank smart, bank local, bank well.
It's the InSports Athletic Functional Movement Assessment Program.
A program that uses a camera the same camera that you use with an Xbox video game.
What it involves is 3 phases. One is the initial test, which will give you a very objective and lengthy assessment of how you are moving and where there may be imbalances.
Once test gets the results from the assessment, we'll develop a customized program for the individual.
The objective really to try to get as many young athletes through this program as possible.
Have a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Basketball, hockey, skiing, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
At the Milford Bank, we offer an extensive selection of lending products and services to meet virtually any need. Submit your application online in our Mortgage Web Center. Start to finish, you can apply for a loan in as little as 10 minutes. Our knowledgeable and helpful staff are available to meet with you at your convenience. To learn more about what we can do for you, stop by one of our Milford Bank offices or visit us at milfordbank.com. The Milford Bank, always there. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When it comes to considering the outside of your home, just imagine the possibilities. Whether your dream is a stunning freeform pool or a tranquil, secluded garden, the team of professionals at Stonebridge Associates will make it a reality. We offer unparalleled landscape design and construction, masonry development, pools, spas, and water features, as well as landscape and garden maintenance. No other firm can offer the same level of creativity, quality, and personal attention. Discover the possibilities at stonebridgeassociates.net or call 203-544-8376 today.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier network, and we've also reached more than 2 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Back on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Kevin, I forgot to say happy anniversary. Yesterday's game marked the first time that you and I ever worked together on the HAN Network, and look how far we've come now. As a treat, we want all of you to tweet at us, message us via our Snapchat. Kevin and I are looking for a little FCAC challenge. We want to find 10 events, whether it's soccer, basketball, hockey, baseball, anything. We're going to go one-on-one. Let us know what you want to see us do.
Well, we already know which one we're doing first. We're doing soccer. Frank has already chirped me all season long. He doesn't think I can score. He doesn't think I can go 10 for 10 on him from PK. So all you soccer boys out there, follow us on Snapchat, han.network. You guys can add us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can message us there. I mean, again, also speaking of which, you guys have been awesome, by the way, on Snapchat and Twitter, replying back at us. It's been a lot of fun to see the interaction with all the students.
Yes, and all you soccer goalies, I will take any and all advice you are willing to offer. Eric, your thoughts on our little athletic decathlon?
Yeah, how many hits we gonna get on? How many hits we gonna get on the website? Is this going on Frontier or what's going on?
This could be a pay-per-view event. Big money out there for this.
Bigger than McGregor and
yeah, bigger than McGregor and Mayweather.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Looking at the standings right now, let's start with lacrosse because we were there yesterday. I'll be blunt about it. It's Darien's conference. Everyone else is just playing in it. Your thoughts? Open floor.
I completely agree. I think we've only seen Darien once, and that was against a very good York team, and boy, they looked so strong in that game. Just came out of the floodgates against a very strong Yorktown lacrosse program. And, they're only 2-0 right now in the FCAC, but boy, this is a Darien team that's going to be so strong coming towards the end of the year. And again, we expect to see them again in the FCAC championship game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the real discussion here is, who's surprising beyond Darien, because You're absolutely right, Frank. This is everybody's just living in Darienne's conference right now. But I gotta make a note of St. Joe's nice strong start. They're in line to make another great run in the Class S tournament. They always seem to make a lot of noise there, no matter what they do in the FCAC play. But they're 3-0 in the FCAC, 4-1 overall, and technically ahead of Darien in the East Division right now. We'll see how long that lasts.
Well, you know what? They square off on Tuesday afternoon this week. Darien also gets a test on Saturday. They play at Wilton. That's a night game from Fujitani. They could fill that place up, maybe ride some of the emotions. But, I mean, closest game they played, they beat Manhasset by 4 in the battle for the Sound. Niskayuna kept it within 8. Out of the conference, they've had tighter games. Next weekend, the 29th, showdown at New Canaan. I don't know that what we've seen from New Canaan, and we'll get a look at the Rams again on Wednesday this week when they play the Wreckers, that they've closed the gap from last year.
I think that's going to be a great game, though. I think for New Canaan's sake, they're going to be at home at Dunning Stadium, and we that game's at 4:30. You got the girls in that first matchup. It's a doubleheader. That's going to be a great game as well. But for the boys lacrosse game, that's going to be a great game. And a team that I thought gave New Canaan a lot of trouble was Wilton. I think they're a team to look out for as well that could really surprise some people. And, hey, what we saw yesterday from Greenwich and Staples, I mean, those two teams can make some noise as well. I really liked how Greenwich has been playing. You talk about that big win in overtime against Ridgefield last week. And how about a big win against Staples yesterday?
I definitely think Greenwich and Wilton, in my opinion, right now are the 2 and 3 teams in the conference, even though Wilton lost to the Rams. At some point in time, I think New Canaan will have to run into Wilton again in the FCAC championships, and I don't think that's a good matchup for them, Eric.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. You know, from what now we've seen Greenwich twice. I mean, I think if they can clean up some of those sloppy turnovers that they've had, this is a team that I think is solidly the number 2 or 3 team in the conference right now. I'm really impressed with them. I'm looking forward to seeing Wilton. We're seeing where they're at. They're 2-1 in the conference, 3-1 overall. We don't know a whole lot about what they got. Actually, you guys saw them. I wasn't at that game. So, what were your thoughts on Wilton in that game, Frank?
Listen, I thought Wilton played a good game. They competed with New Canaan, fell behind a little early. I thought they stymied the Rams' offense. They forced New Canaan out of their comfort zone, and it took a lot of late, great rallies for the Rams to come away a winner in that one. 2 games in a row now that the Warriors have lost late by 1 goal to the Rams. It's not a team New Canaan wants to see again. And the one team we're not talking about, too, who was a semifinalist in both the FCAC and the state last year, is the Richfield Tigers. They're off to a little bit of a slow start, but it's an experienced group that, if they get hot at the right time, could do some damage. And they faced Darien a lot, so they might have the recipe for success there.
The Richfield Tigers concern me a little bit after that tough loss in overtime. I mean, yes, was it a great comeback? Being down 7-3 in the fourth quarter and climbing all the way back to tie it up? Yes, but they've been having a tough time closing out games, and that's the one concern I have for Wilton as well. You talk about, playing these close games but not being able to finish. That's the only concern I have for these teams. But yes, I think for a team like New Canaan, if they run into a team like Wilton or Richfield, that's going to cause a lot of trouble.
Let's take a look at the baseball standings now. And how much money do you think you could have made, Eric, had you bet on the New Canaan Rams being the last undefeated team in the FCAC tournament, in the FCAC conference?
Yeah, quite a bit. We were, I think all 3 of us were pretty down on the Rams in preseason as far as baseball goes, and so, and especially with a key injury to Robbie Jones.
They still don't have Robbie Jones back. He rejoins the roster next week. He's been medically cleared to play, so he will be welcomed back with open arms. But listen, if you look at baseball's champions the last 6 years, it's been a different team. A lot of teams have busted long slumps, long droughts without a championship. The Rams, are they this year's team? Is there that touch of destiny mixed in there to the way New Canaan's playing right now?
I'll let Eric answer that first.
I think it's a little too soon to tell. I mean, we'll see, what element Robbie Jones adds into that. If he comes back and they can, they get even better, then look out. That undefeated look to a team in baseball can be a little. There's a lot. I feel like there's a lot more pressure in baseball for undefeated teams for whatever reason, because in baseball you just have that element from day to day that anybody can beat anybody. You know that you're gonna lose games. You know the old saying in Major League Baseball: everyone's gonna win 54 games, everyone's gonna lose 54 games. It's what you do with the other 54 games that counts. You don't have the luxury of 162 games in the FCAC, of course, but as we saw. Ridgefield fell to Danbury the other day. I still think Danbury is better than what the record shows so far, but I think that's a great example of anybody can beat anybody in this league.
I fully agree with what Eric said there. Anybody can beat anybody, especially in this game of baseball. You talk about how different swings can go in each game, and we look at that Darien Trumbull game that we covered last week. For a while, Darien had the edge. Trumbull gained it back, and Trumbull did an absolutely great job of securing that win. And the pitching, my goodness, the pitching so far that we've seen in the FCAC has been brilliant. I think we've seen some excellent pitching performances from these starters from all these great schools. That's exciting to see, because that means that further down the road, when we approach May and when we get to Harbor Yard, I think, again, we're going to see those starting pitchers. Hey, they could even, bring back that performance that they brought in April, which is a good sign to see if you're a head coach.
I would be shocked if the Rams surrendered another run all season long. I'll go out there, put that on the line right now.
Whoa.
Now,
bold statements from the New Canaan grad here.
It's a great start to the season for the Rams. It's very balanced in the FCAC, though, right now. Ridgefield and New Canaan have jumped out to a 2-game lead in their overall in their respective divisions, but the rest of the pack, they're very tight. It's anyone's tournament. It's going to be exciting to see what 8 teams qualify for the road to Harbor Yard. Running out of time here, so let's take one more break. When we get back, we're going to preview this afternoon's volleyball matchup. The Wreckers and the Tigers from the Tigers Den on Ridgefield. That's coming up on the HAN Network after this.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. SCAP Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now during the spring clearance event, now through April 30th.
At Budget Blinds, we're in business to frame the light, the day, and the night. So we give you an exclusive combination of high style, expert service, our no surprises pricing, and our no questions asked warranty. We believe that everyone, at every budget, deserves style and service. Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
The new fishing season is fast approaching, so it's time to head over to the dock shop and get your gear in order. We're now offering bait in both Darien and our Westport location. The dock shop can service and repair your rods and reels, spool up new line, and fill any empty space you might have in your tackle box. Whether you're a fisherman, boater, or beach bum, the dock shop is a unique place to shop. The dock shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
Spring has sprung at Walter Stewart's Market, and we're celebrating the new season with fresh takes on spring. From the finest produce around to guaranteed fresh seafood delivered daily by the best local supplier. Not only are we your time-saving one-stop shop for everything you need this season, our personable team is always ready with a helping hand. Shop Stewart's for the best of spring. Find us at 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
La France de Chartrenet, c'est la France de tous les Français.
We told Dad he could have his office back if he sold 150 cars last month.
Deal's a deal.
Well, Dad, you did it. You get your office back.
Forget it. I'm having too much fun down here. My new goal, 160 cars. Wow. Folks, if you ever wanted a great price on a new Nissan, now is the time.
Right now, lease a 2017 Altima 2.5S for only $99 a month.
Isn't it time you got Millerized?
I'm John Kovac. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter, and I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune into Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
Back on the HAN network, Frank Granito, Kevin Coleman, Eric Gender bringing you Nutmeg Sports. Happy to be back in studio. But we're right back on the road this afternoon. Staples at Ridgefield, boys volleyball. The Tigers, the defending state champion, it was their third consecutive state championship, are 5-0 this season. They are yet to drop a set. Kevin, what kind of a chance are you giving the Wreckers this afternoon?
Ooh, not much. I think, considering the Tigers haven't lost a set yet, I mean, that's just absurd. 5-0. This is going to be a tough one for Staples, especially on the road. Ridgefield just so good at home at the Tigers Den. I'm giving Ridgefield in 3 straight sets.
Eric, now Staples was the only team last year besides Darien to beat the Tigers. They won in 5 sets. They are 3-1 this season. Their only losses to Darien, they lost 3-0, but their 3 wins, they're yet to drop a set either. Does that change your mind at all?
Well, I think what's worrying there is that 3-0 loss to Darien. You would hope that Staples, being one of those perennial powers that can at least compete with Ridgefield, would at least be able to take 1 set from Darien. Maybe it was just a bad day. I wouldn't put it past Staples being able to get in 1 set here and at least put a dent in that Ridgefield run. But I'm still going to go Ridgefield 3-1 today, I think.
That was the score in the other 2 matches Ridgefield and Staples played last year. Ridgefield won the regular season 3-1. They won in the first round of the FCX tournament 3-1 when these 2 teams played in the semis. They were 2-3 in the conference last year, 5-6 in the state. Staples would lose in the semifinals of the state tournament. Against Darien. That's a tough one for them there. I agree. I think Ridgefield is too much. They're a very motivated team. But Staples program, they've got, as Eric said, it's a storied program. There is that experience. They were the number 2 seed in the States just 3 years ago. Maybe it's a senior class with a touch of destiny, but they're going to have to play a perfect game today.
They are, and considering they only have 2 seniors on the roster, this is a very junior-heavy team. So, getting Darien the second game of the year, that's just not easy. And, by all means, this is not a knock on Staples at all. This is a very good program, volleyball program that dates back for many years. This is a very strong volleyball program. And, this is a good roster. But you know what? When Ridgefield has someone like Leah Punov and Nicholas Ladowdy setting things up and, blocking shots up front with their size, boy, it's going to be tough. And that just makes that Ridgefield-Darien matchup in a couple weeks, makes that even a little sweeter.
First of 2 meetings on the season for Staples and Ridgefield. They will play from Staples on May 10th. That's going to do it for today's episode. Final thoughts around the board. We start in the back with Eric.
It's great to be back in the studio. And again, we love the swag and keep an eye on it. We're really going to be putting the pedal to the metal here soon. We got a loaded slate next week, so tune in all throughout the spring season here. We got some great games across all the sports, boys and girls, baseball, softball, boys lacrosse, girls lacrosse, volleyball, and Frank Granito gonna get his wish. We're gonna be covering some golf.
Yes, stick it too. Let's go. Cap, final thoughts.
I think, again, like Eric said, big thank you to all the athletic directors and student athletes for all the swag for the studio. It looks great in there. But also be sure to add us on Snapchat, Instagram. Frank and I are always on there adding some fun entertainment to the Snap Story, keeping you guys entertained. We like to show where we are every day and whatnot. So be sure to follow us on Snapchat. Go Tigers as well. Big game tonight against Staples. And again, I think Frank and I are looking forward to our little FCAC challenge we have cooking up, so keep it tuned in for that.
A lot of fun. Make sure you vote for Athlete of the Week. We'll see you at 5:30 from Ridgefield High School. Boys volleyball, Staples, Tigers, only on the HAN Network.